Welcome to Chapter 1 of Stress Management for Exercise Science and Sports Med students. Let me share your screen, or my screen with you, and we'll get through Chapter 1 slides. All right, here we go. Let me move this camera where it's at too, because it was a problem when I was practicing. One second. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so first thing to ask yourself, is stress always bad? Spoiler, no. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. Is there anything that you can really do about stress, or is it just inevitable demand of living in today's world? Yeah, you're always going to deal with stress. So stress is always going to be there. How you act and react to it and how you handle it and manage it is your part. Okay. Again, are you born with a certain capacity to handle stress? Yeah, there are genetic factors of, some people stress out or easier, some people, handle things. Does that mean that if you have trouble handling a little bit of stress, or you're always more? No. Again, we can all grow. We have the capacity to adapt and change and grow. So you can become more successful. You can, use techniques and things to help you get better. And again, is successful stress management a result of heredity or environment? Again, it's going to be a mixture of both. Some folks are born into bad situations. Some folks are born, with heredity, where you're just more, type A, type B, or you just like stress out easy, you don't stress out easy, And again, it's this big mix of things. And so again, like thinking about that, if you were born where you stress out easy, born into a situation that's very stressful or not conducive for helping you adapt to stress, does that mean you're always going to have stress issues your entire life? You have a greater chance, but it doesn't mean that you have to have that, right? And so again, the beauty of being human is the ability to adapt, decide to be successful, and do those things and work through things. Okay, so again, don't look at it as a bad thing, right? So you look back and like, man, I've always had, just couldn't handle stress, Just because you've always been that way doesn't mean that you always have to be that way, right? So objectives, define terms stress and stressor, okay? We'll talk about the difference between eustress and distress, acute, episodic, and chronic stresses. We'll talk about the 5 dimensions of holistic health and some of the most common stressors that affect college students, right? So again, one of the things is that student self-rating of emotional health dropped to a record low in 2012. And again, these slides are from 2016. So there may have been another emotional rating that's happened in place of that, but my guess is this trend is probably continuing. Okay, fewer students than ever before are reporting above average emotional health, and students feel increasingly overwhelmed before entering college. Now again, why is that? Well, it's very multifactorial. One, we do a lot more surveys and interviews, year after year than we used to. Okay. Two, people are increasingly more aware of the fact that they can be a bit more open on these types of things than maybe in years past. You see, not only amongst, college students, but adults, the idea of mental health and being able to express emotions and things is a lot more open and common than it has been in the past too. So people are going to be a lot more honest about these types of things, and so again, you're going to, part of that might inflate the numbers. The other part is if you look at systemically what we've done, in terms of like education and some other things, we've tried to help students not have as much stress. So again, they really want kids to have less stressful situations in their life. They're trying to help them with emotional stress and so forth. And in doing so, sometimes by removing stresses or making things easier, when stress does come along, they don't know how to deal with it because they haven't dealt with it earlier, right? And so again, if you look at the times we live in, um, you know, we a lot of times we want kids to be kids, where maybe like 60 years ago, 70 years ago, kids had to grow up faster in a lot of capacities and having to deal with a lot of things, you know, and the types of stresses are different now, right? You know, some of the things that we have now that are supposed to make our life easier, like technology, social platforms, and things like that, can also be more stressful because you see a lot of things on social platforms that can be very stressful. People can be cyberbullied, something that, you know, I didn't deal with as a kid because we didn't have those types of things, you know. And so again, there's new stresses that have come up in recent years that, you know, experts, you know, when they look at, you know, when experts help folks deal with stress, you know, we usually have things that are going on that they've been able to study and look at and be like, okay, these are techniques that we have to, you know, handle this type of stress. But when new things come out, those are new to the experts as well. And so sometimes some of the old school techniques don't work well with new things going on. Right. And so again, we have all these things, you know, both old and new, that play into things. We have things where, you know, you have stress is coming at you from different, you know, from all different directions, as well as how you react to things. You know, there's certain stresses that will come into your life that you're like, oh man, that's awesome. That's a challenge. Some things you're just like, I don't want to deal with that. Right. And we'll talk about all that. So again, feeling overwhelmed. Percentage of incoming first-year women who reported feeling frequently overwhelmed is at its since the question was first asked in 1985. It's more than twice the rate of incoming first-year men, right? So again, why is that? You know, again, multifactorial, right? Does that mean that women have a lesser capacity to deal with stress? No, not by any means. So again, maybe, you know, they feel overwhelmed because maybe things are, you know, whatever they're doing, they, you know, or, I mean, you can look at a lot of things. Maybe the school that they're going to or the program they're going into is mostly dominated by males, right? And so again, it can be overwhelming when you're trying to break a gender barrier. Okay. Again, a lot of times women are a lot more honest about their emotions than men, right? So this 18.3 might not be a really good indicator of how many men actually feel overwhelmed, right? Because again, there's, you know, we have male tendency to be like, I got this. Even a lot of times when we don't got this, we say we got this, right? And so there's a lot of things that can really play into those numbers, okay? And so when you look at that and you feel overwhelmed, you know, it's okay to feel that way, and or to at least express that you feel that way, and doesn't mean that you always have to feel that way, right? And so again, there's things that you can do to overcome that as well. All right, so stress in today's world, college can be the best of times or the worst of times. So we'll look at two opposite type of college students. You got the folks that party all the time. You got the folks that study all the time, right? So those that study all the time might look back at college and be like, man, college really wasn't great, man. It was stressful. I was working hard, trying to get straight A's, trying to get into med school, trying to do this. But the partiers were like, man, it was fun. Just fun. Just always fun with my friends, hanging out, doing this and that and the other. Now, again, good and bad come from both of those. You know, this person hopefully was highly successful and they didn't overstress themselves and burn themselves out of college. These folks, you know, hopefully within all the partying, they made good enough grades that were actually able to graduate and get a job. But again, you could have bad on both ends, right? You could have somebody that like basically burns themselves out and overstress themselves. You have these folks that didn't take it seriously enough and they didn't even make it. All right. So again, there's that balance. We always talk about life balance. You know, work hard, have some fun, right? Take breaks when you need to take breaks. You know, enjoy life. You know, don't just always think about and work towards your future and miss what's going on today, right? So there's that balance, right? So again, with proper skills, right information, you can control of your destiny, and you can also enjoy the times, right? Always enjoy what you're doing when you're doing it, because if not, it passes you up. Okay. So what is it? It's a demand made upon the adaptive capacities of the mind and body. And like saying, let me actually move it. You guys will read that. There you go. Three important aspects: the experience of the stressor as positive or negative. So let's take two athletes, right? You've got a Kobe Bryant type person, and then you've got, say, some other guy that's on the starting five with him that's at the end of the game, but he doesn't shoot well during, really stressful situations. There's those guys that like, man, when the free throw really means something, they can't make it, right? So you got some folks that are like, 90% free throw shooters, that the reason they're 90% is they usually get fouled early in the game. It doesn't mean much. They're making it. You got some other folks that are like true 90% free throw shooters. It doesn't matter if you foul them minute one of the game or the last 3 seconds of the game, they're going to make them. Okay. The folks that can make free throws throughout the game, or the ones that are like, coach, give me the ball, there's 3 seconds left, I got the shot. Man, they see that experience and that stressor is positive, right? They see a challenge, they want to overcome it. Some folks just like, it's too much. They're like, man, I don't want to let my team down. Please do not give me the ball, coach. No. I don't want to be, I don't want to be in that position. Okay. So same experience, same stressor, but viewed differently. Okay. So the reaction, not the actual event, is the determining factor. Okay. So that, that's the thing is, sometimes you look at somebody, you're like, why does that stress you out? Because it's how they experience it, right? It's, you're like, I've been through that, been there, done that. That's not that bad, right? Well, it wasn't that bad for you, right? That's your reaction, right? And so again, that's the thing. There's no events that can't be overcome, but our ability to act, react, and adapt is what's going to make an event make or break us, okay? So the capacity for handling stress and whether it is sufficient or exceeded is going to be up to us, okay? So understand that that's up to you, okay? Again, I know sometimes that doesn't help because, I'm way overwhelmed. I don't know. So you're saying this is my problem. Yes and no, right? Again, there are tools you can utilize, right? Sometimes you just haven't been taught those tools. Sometimes it's just experience. You've been there before, now you're there again, right? So again, don't put so much pressure on you like there's something wrong with me, I can handle this. I'm not saying that. Sometimes it's a matter of having the right people around you, having been taught the right tools, or having experienced it yourself, or having somebody explain that experience to you that they've been through, and that being able to help you then deal with that experience, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it. The Yerkes-Dodson principle is, to a certain point, stress is healthy, useful, and beneficial. It can enhance performance, health, and well-being. When stress exceeds the ability to cope, diminished performance and efficiency and health problems occur. So we kind of talked about diminished performance, right? You got some of those folks that can make, like 9 out of 10 free throws until you foul them in the last few seconds. They go for, they're 0 for 2 every single time, right? Because it's too much. Right? Same thing. You can have health problems, right? You stress so much, you make yourself sick. Your immune system constantly in attack, right? You don't sleep at night. You don't feel physically ready to go work out or do anything like that. So here's the Yerkes-Dodson principle from a visual standpoint, right? If you don't have enough stress in your life, you're bored. So let's think of coronavirus, COVID-19, quarantine. I'm here in my house, and I haven't been out much. Now, again, they've started lifting, so, I finally got to go out to dinner the other night, which was glorious. Way too excited about getting to go out to dinner. It is. I'm bored, apathetic. I'm stressed out because there's nothing going on, right? Can't go do this, can't go do that. That stresses me out. I am a person that likes to go. Again, this conversation a lot. My wife, she is a person, she gets fueled by being around people and having conversations with her friends and relationships. I'm not a relationship person. I'm not that way. You know, I'm one of those people that I could move every month to a new place or every couple of months and never develop strong relationships, and I'm fine. I like experiences. I would love to just travel the world and go experience different things. I love to go surfing. I love to go hiking and fishing. And I want the experience, right? This type of experience going through the coronavirus and being quarantined and all this kills me. You know, I mean, it's hard on her because she doesn't see her friends as much. But, you know, again, she does, you know, these Zoom conferences and talks with them. And some of her friends, they actually still get together and do some things. And so, you know, she can get a little fuel there. Not as much as she's used to. So, again, some distress for her. But this is like killing me because I'm a person that has to be out doing things. Right? I don't care if you're there with me or not. I got to be out doing things, right? And so this causes a lot of distress for me, right? Again, let's kind of go past the eustress, right? So that's the middle ground, right? Let's go to the other distress. You got too much, right? You don't know how you're going to pay the bills, right? You got too much. There's too much month, not enough money, right? You got too many expenses that will come up through the 30, 31 days, depending on how long the month is that you're in at that time. And just not enough paydays, right? You've got, you know, kids or family members or friends that are just like doing some stuff that you're worried about them. You know, you're worried about your health. You know, your doctor said, hey, I need to have a serious conversation with you. You know, you're upset, you're overwhelmed, you know, at work, they're, you know, like they've got you coming in pulling double shifts, they're giving you all these big projects and throwing it on you, right? Feel resistant, you're nervous, you don't sleep, you know, all that stuff, too much, right? Now in the middle, there's the right amount of stress. There's enough that's coming in, it's challenging you, but you're able to overcome, achieve, and grow, right? You're in control, you know, it gives you exhilaration, right? You know, you're conquering, you get more confidence, you feel peaceful about that, you're content, right? There's that middle ground, okay? So there's good and bad stress. So good stress we call eustress. This stress is negative. And a stressor is basically an event or situation that an individual perceives as a threat that causes them either to adapt or initiate the stress response, right? So you either see something, you know, there's an obstacle, you either go over it, or it's in your way and you start stressing out because you're not sure how you need to get around over it or whatever, okay? So acute and chronic. So we have acute stress appears suddenly, is usually quite intense and disappears quickly. So, you know, you walking through your house and somebody jumps out and scares you, right? It's acute. You know, at first you're like, you know, and then they start laughing and realize it's, no big deal, right? Acute stress. Acute stress is repeated episodes of acute stress. So this could be something that, you know, like, say every Monday you have these things at your work that you just absolutely dread, whatever it is. It's a meeting, it's something that has to be done. I don't know what it is. It's just something like, man, you don't want to do it. It's horrible, whatever it is, but it's going to happen every Monday, right? You get through it on Mondays, and the rest of the week you just cruise control. It's fine. Okay? Chronic is stuff just constant, long-term stress resulting from problems that just don't seem to go away, right? You know, it's a bad relationship. You've got a boss that's just horrible, you know. You've got a health issue that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, right? Those things are chronic. All right, so the relationship among stress, health, and performance. Okay, so again, looking at this, don't feel like your curve has to be like this all, again. So health and performance. Again, some people have better health and performance, so you can see that actually grow up. Again, some people's optimal stress range can start lower or can start lower and end lower, can start higher and end higher. Some folks have a very large capacity for optimal stress. Again, so it's, but the principle is if you're not getting stressed enough, you're not going to have optimal health and performance. If you get stressed too much, you're not going to have optimal health and performance, right? So there's a point at which there's not enough, you don't see your health and performance go up high enough, or, you know, everything's running right, but you get overstressed and you see it fall off the other end, right? That's all this is getting at. Okay? Holistic health. So health is more than just the absence of the disease, because again, you can be physically healthy, not having diseases, but life ain't going well, right? You don't, you know, you may be healthy, but you don't feel healthy, right? And that's the thing, it's not just physical, okay? So there's physical health, intellectual health, social health, spiritual health, and emotional health, right? So physical health, functioning of the body's cells, tissues, organs, and systems. So this is what the doc checks on, right? Doc says everything's good, or doc says this is off and this is off, whatever it is. Physical health. Intellectual health, ability to think, learn from experiences, ability to assess and question the information, openness to learning new things, you know. So again, this would be, you know, again, when we think of mental health, there's two different things to think about. There's the intellectual side, like how's your mind growing and learning and capacity and stuff like that. And then there, we get to the emotional health, right? That would be the other side of mental health, where experiencing and appreciating a wide range of feelings, ability to express these feelings and emotions in a healthy manner. So again, we can separate them, but again, a lot of times these things are very they interact quite a bit, as well as you see emotional health interacts with everything, okay? The spiritual health relates to the principles and values that guide a person and gives them meaning, direction, purpose of life. Again, you may not be you know, you say, I'm not a spiritual person, quote unquote, but there's, you feel like, you know, you feel like there's a purpose to your life where you don't, right? Again, if you don't have meaning, direction, and purpose, that can really weigh on you at some point in your life where you're like, why am I even here? Why am I going through the things I'm going through if there's no reason for it, right? For somebody else who's very in tune with their spirit, you know, whatever that is, whatever, you know, based on religion, whatever else, you know, when they go through those tough times, they go through those valleys, you know, they're like, look, I got to stay the course because there's meaning to my life, I've got direction, and there's a purpose for this, right? This too will help me grow. This too will be part of the grand story of my life, you know, and things like that. And so, again, it's very important, you know, to at least accept that there's a spiritual aspect to your life, right? You can't completely deny it, right? You won't ever be healthy, ever be well-rounded and healthy. Okay? And then social health, ability to relate to others and express care and concerns for others. So again, this you got introverts, you got extroverts, but we all have to have some type of relational capacity with folks and have folks that we can relate to. Okay, you know, if you're an island, it gets lonely, right? Even if you're an introvert and you're an island, it gets lonely, right? Okay, so again, you need to have folks that care for you and folks you care about. Doesn't mean you got to see them and talk to them all the time, right? You don't have to be an extrovert. But there's got to be some folks in your life that sometimes when things get heavy, you can talk to them, or there's just folks in your life that you care about or that they care about you, right? So again, these all interact. So again, if I'm sick, you know, like I have cancer, I've got heart disease, I've got, you know, or even if I'm just like an acute cold or something like that, it affects everything, right? So again, intellectually, if I'm chronically sick, you know, it's just, you know, I may always be overconsumed with that. So my capacity for my own intellect to grow and learn and do things, I'm just not interested, I'm not pathetic to it. I'm not going to let that grow. Emotionally, I'm drained, right? I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm just fed up. Why do I feel this way, right? Socially, I may isolate myself, or, you know, I put too much burden on people because I'm sick and I want them to help me, take care of me, and I'm, you know, and again, they can't, you know, and so again, they start to distance themselves, or I distance myself, and then spiritually, you're like, why am I going through this? You know, like I'm going through tough things, right? So again, it can have a negative effect. Now, again, any one of those can also have a positive effect going back. So again, say you're physically sick, but spiritually, you're like, look, this is something that will like you grow from, become stronger, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it, can kind of reverse. You're like, all right, I can't social distance. I've got to make sure that I'm staying engaged with people. Again, it can help you emotionally when you can capacitate that and understand it's like, look, this is something that I can get through, I can survive, I can get, can make it better, it's something I can learn from, right? So emotionally feel better, intellectually, like, okay, what do I learn from this? How do I grow, right? And so again, any one of those things can also help that. And again, sometimes that helps you to feel physically better. Maybe it won't cure your disease, but you just feel physically better, right? And any one of these can be attacked and have a negative feeling on any one of these, and any one of these can be the catalyst to help you get back on track as well. Okay, so they always constantly interact with each other, right? Nature or nurture? Well, spoiler, both, right? So what factors influence experience of stress? So hereditarily, you may be more type A, type B, you may be somebody that stresses easy, somebody that like rolls with the punches, is what it is. Again, environmentally wise, somebody might have modeled that to you and you learn that. Maybe you live in a stressful environment, maybe you grew up on some island somewhere, your parents were super rich and you just, really didn't have to do too much of anything. Some of you might have grown up in a really poor household in the middle of a stressful situation, parents were fighting, whatever else, all those things play into it. The number of stressors. Sometimes, some of you don't have enough stress, like we said, you're bored and that causes stress. Some of you have the right amount, some of you got too much, right? Sometimes the magnitude of the stress, right? Finding out that, you have a chronic disease and you only have 1 month to live, that's a huge stress. That might only be your one stress, but it's huge, right? Where you could have 20 little tiny stressors that aren't that big in your life, and that's not, we're like, oh, that's nothing, right? So it's not always the number, but you got to look at the number and magnitude. And then the subjective meaning of the stressor to the individual, right? So, sometimes it gets harder to some people, right? So there's certain things you're like, oh, that's not a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to somebody else. Or to somebody else, you're like, yeah, it's not a big deal, but to you, it's a big deal, right? How do you take it? How do you interpret it? How does it affect you? And then developmental level of individual, right? Sometimes you're like, you may have parents like you're going through something like, talk to your mom or dad, and you're like, what do I do? And they're like, don't worry, you get through this and help you. And you're like, how are you so calm about this? You're like, then they've done that, right? So, the amount of education they've been through, the amount of experiences they've been through, they're at a different developmental stage. You're like, then they're done that. That's something that everybody goes through. Right? Whereas if you're a teenager, you notice this sometimes with kids and teenagers, like they get a little stressed. They're like, it's the end of the world. My social status, I'm whatever, like, you'll live through it. It is what it is. We've all been there. We've all dealt with somebody that's done that to us or whatever else, And so again, sometimes it's just where you're at developmentally, as you live through life events, you get better at dealing. And then again, availability of social support, right? So, when there's people that you care about and care about you, and you got, whether you have a lot or you just got a few of them that you can really come to, it helps. Okay? So even if you're an introvert, social support helps. Okay? So time tips. Time management is vital to stress management. Triage ruthlessly and invest your time and energy where it matters. So again, you gotta look at both sides of the coin of this. So again, you got the type A folks that are like, yeah, I got my little planner, I've got all that, and blah, 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 blah. And you get the other folks that are like, yeah, I roll with the punches, I don't really plan for stuff. Both are a disadvantage in some regards. Okay, so here's the thing. New stresses come up daily. Okay, some things you can plan for, some things you cannot. So the planners, where they're good with that is if they plan and they're like, they plan time for new stuff to come in, great, good, fine. But sometimes there's things that come in that disrupt their plans, and by the fact that it just disrupts their plans, now it really sets them off. Okay, on the other hand, you got the folks that don't plan for anything, and sometimes they maybe say yes to too many things, and then that one day comes and their friends calling, hey, I thought you were gonna help me move today. Oh yeah, I'll be over. And then somebody else calls, look, wait, I thought you were gonna help me move today, or I thought you were gonna help me build this thing, or I thought, and they've got two people calling them saying, look, you told me today was the day, and you're like, oh man, maybe I should have wrote this stuff down, right? And so again, you got this person that plans too much, and now their whole day is out of whack because someone's like, no, this is what you're going to work on today at work, and it's due today. Yeah, but I had all these. No, you're doing this today, right? So they're stressed out in that situation. The other person's stressed out because they didn't keep track of things, right? So again, there's a common, or not a common ground, but a middle ground where keep track of the things you're doing, but also be able to be adaptable and move things around, right? You can't be too type A and you can't be too type B, so to speak, right? Those are the, again, I know some sociologists, psychologists are like, they're not type A and type B, they're not, whatever. I always like those two thought processes of looking at things, and to be honest, I do think most of us are somewhere we have a little bit of them tendencies in some situations and a little bit of other tendencies in others, right? And triage ruthlessly. So those of you that are not medical professionals, triage means like you deal with the emergency, so you look at certain things that's like, all right, this a little while before they receive treatment, so we'll move them back. This person needs treatment now or they die, and this person here is going to be, they need treatment before this person's, but we can hold off a little bit. So we take care of this person, then this person, then this person, right? And then sometimes at triage, you get that person that you're like, look, we can't physically help them. They're going to die. And so sometimes there's some of those projects in your life. You're like, look, I can't do that one. Right? I mean, it is what it is, right? And so again, there's all these different things you got to look at, like what can you do, what can't you do, and when can you get to doing certain things based on the necessity of when they need to be done. All right, stress and development of the brain. Animal research shows that a well-defined period of early postnatal development may be important determinant of the capacity to handle stress throughout life. So maternally deprived rat pups show more profound and excessive response. Monkeys raised by mothers who experience unpredictable conditions and obtain food show patterns often seen in humans with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. Basically says if you can grow up in the most ideal environment, it's good. But again, this also, some of you did not grow up in the most ideal environment. You see stuff like this, you're like, all right, well, I'm always going to be screwed up. No, we're adaptable. We're always adaptable. Remember that. It's just some folks, it's sort of like, some folks are just getting a step up, right? Some people just, they get a little bit more help at the beginning, so to speak. Some of us got to learn to adapt, right? So, you may not have had the same advantage, right? So we've got to figure out how to get up to that level. Do some extra work, be open to realizing that, we need to work harder, we need to adapt, we need to change this, or there's something else about us. Okay? So things that can cause stress, time management. Again, if you don't manage your time, it's going to manage you, right? Things will sneak up on you, mess you up, personal expectations, right? Sometimes we don't expect enough, sometimes we expect too much. Right? And either one of those can be problematic. Okay? Family expectations and family life. Sometimes your family expects too much of you, or they expect you're going to be a failure. They expect, like whatever it is. Right? Some people in your family can stress you out. Some people in your family can actually help you manage your stress. Learn to cling to some, learn to cleave from others. Okay? Employment decisions and finances, right? Sometimes you got that, you got that choice between this is the job that I'm going to love going to work every day, but I make no money, or this is a job where I make a lot of money, but it's not something I'm necessarily going to enjoy, right? And sometimes you have to make decisions like that, right? Which one's right? Some people are like, always, chase your passions. Well, what if you have more passions outside of your actual work? So what if you're one of those folks, man, my passion is traveling the world. You need money to travel the world. So you're like, look, I can work at this job, work hard, make a lot of money, take my vacation days and really maximize my vacation days. Some folks are like, no. You know, you spend more time at work, you need to love what you're doing. And actually both are right and both are wrong, right? And again, there's some folks that don't have to make that decision. They're like, my dream job actually pays well. And we hate those folks. No, no, I mean, that's really what it is, right? You know, I mean, if you can have the best of both worlds, then you can, it's great, right? Not only does it pay well, it's my dream job, I also get a lot of days off, so then I go vacation a lot. You know, I mean, yeah, that's what we, you know, we all look at that, right? Academic demands, right? Yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, you know, I've got these classes, I can handle them, they're easy, you know, or, you know, these are really boring classes, but I can still get, you know, I'll get good grades, but this semester's going to suck. I'm not going to learn anything, it's boring. Or sometimes you have that semester like, this is way too much. You know, this class is difficult. This class is difficult. I don't even, you know, like I walk in this class and I feel like I'm in like a foreign language class, but it's some type of science course. I don't know what they're talking about, right? It's, you know, it's too much. You know, you feel like it's too much. Living arrangements, right? You may have the best roommates in the world or the worst roommates in the world, or somewhere in between, right? I mean, that can stress you out and make your life less stressful, right? Relationships, you know, you're in a good relationship or a bad relationship, or no relationship, right? Sometimes that can be good or bad, you know? So you got a terrible boyfriend or girlfriend, right? You need to end it, or, you know, you're like, no, I don't know, I think we'll get better, and so you're just living through it, right? You know, or you got the most wonderful girlfriend or boyfriend in the world, or you have no relationship. You're happy being single, or you have no relationship, and you're like, why am I not married by now? You know, whatever it is, right? I mean, we all view it differently. You know, there's some people, you know, you're like, I'm single, and you're like, good for you. That's awesome. You know, other people are like, I'm so sorry. You know, well, it tells you where they're at in their life, right? Physical health issues, right? And again, we all deal with different things differently. You know, I mean, you see some folks that have like had to have like their leg amputated. You see some of them that have learned to thrive in that. They're like, it's a new challenge, right? You know, they've got a prosthetic leg. They, you know, now before they really weren't doing a whole lot of physical stuff. Now they're like, man, I want to go enter in like the Paralympics or, you know, like stuff like that. Man, I want to, you know, they get this group that goes and climbs mountains or they run races. Or they do, you know, sometimes this thing that was a physical health issue is now something they see to overcome somebody else in that same situation. And they just, you know, feel like they can't be the same person they used to be the same things they used to do, and it just kills them, right? And so again, same situation, same stressor, but, you know, it affects people differently, right? Environmental stressors, right? You know, like your work environment can be great, your work environment can be horrible. Your home environment can be great, your home environment can be horrible. You know, and how you deal with it, right? Information overload. You know, I'm talking to you guys on a computer. I mean, I can get on Google here and get information pretty much anything, right? Whether it's correct information or incorrect, I can get information on anything I type on, right? You know, I mean, I can be on my phone right now on social media, and whether I want to see something or not, if I'm scrolling through, like I'm bombarded with stuff, okay? That can be stressful. Choices. You know, sometimes we make a choice, you know, and again, most of the time we're making choices so that we think this choice can make our life better, but sometimes it comes with new stresses and difficulties, right? Sometimes, you know, you make a choice and that choice, yeah, it comes with new stresses and maybe difficult for a little bit and overcome it. Sometimes you choose not to choose, and then that becomes a problem, right? Where you have to choose A or B. You know, and it's like, well, if I do A, here's the good, here's the bad. If I do B, here's the good, here's the bad. And then you got to figure out, well, which bad do I want to live with? Which good do I want to live with? All right. And then just daily hassles. You know, I mean, there's just stuff that comes up every day that's not pleasant. And you got to deal with that. So life out of balance. So Hopi, if you know what Hopi are, they're a tribe of Native Americans that live in the Southwest. We actually actually live in the area of the world that I live in, not one of the major reservations where I was, but if you went further south and west and stuff, they were down in the area of New Mexico and Arizona and those type of areas. So they have a word called, and I'm guarantee I'm going to butcher this on a lot of it. A lot of my friends, so any of my friends get on here that, some of my Navajo friends, they teach me some words sometimes. I constantly butcher. Extremely difficult languages to learn. But I believe this would be Koyanis Kwatsi. Or again, I'm sure I'm killing that word. But what it means is it's a lot, you have a crazy life, it's constantly turmoil, it's disintegrating, it's out of balance, and it's a life that calls for another level. So basically, this is this word you would say to somebody, like, this is your life now. Okay, and what does that mean? It means you need to change it. Okay, that's what it means. It means you need to change it. Okay, your life is out of balance. You need to make decisions and do some work and do some things to get it back into balance, right? So again, like they said, it's a state of life that calls for another way of living. Right? So, in conclusion, you can prevent and manage stress through the following three basic approaches. I don't like the word prevent because, remember, there's always stress. Right? The stressor is always there. And again, it's not necessarily you prevent it, it's just whether or not how it affects you or how you deal with it, right? So again, you can eliminate the stressor, which again, I don't think you can I don't believe you can truly eliminate stressors. I think it's just how you either change your way of thinking and manage, right? Again, somebody say, well, yeah, but you can get somebody out of your life. Yeah, but there's a stress in doing that as well, right? And sometimes, eventually that person may exit out of your life, but there's a scar that leaves on you as well, right? And so again, you can look at, look, this person was in my life, they were toxic, now I kicked them out of my life. They're not going through the keeping them out of your life and stuff, you actually increase stress during that. Afterwards, the stress might have gone down. But the other thing is too, is there's always a scar that's left because you're now constantly looking for people that were like that and trying to avoid them, right? And so that's a different stress because you're like, I never want somebody like that in my life again, right? So I don't think you can ever truly eliminate the stress, right? I think that was getting a little overzealous in that, but I understand what they mean. You can always change jobs. You can do this, you can do that. But that always leaves a mark, right? All right. So lab 1-1, dimensions of health. Our labs are going to be a little bit different since we're doing this whole COVID thing. For this, we'll probably list this as kind of an assignment to do. We list 2 specific things you're currently doing each dimension of health to help manage and control stress, respond, plan, and implement specific action to improve your stress in one dimension and reflect. Did you feel differently after you carried out your activity? So how? So again, this is something we're going to do. Usually we do this in class. What I'll do is I'll probably just list this as a daily assignment for those of you doing this. I may change this a little bit, so don't come to this particular slide for the assignment. The one that I post in Blackboard is actually the way I want you to do it because we did this one last year. There's some things that I liked and disliked with it. All right, so but I may switch it up just a little bit. All right. So that is chapter 1. I'll get chapter 2 up soon as well. Again, we'll go over chapter 1 when we do our Kaiser Live. And if you guys have questions, please email me, text me, let me know. And we'll do that. All right. Thanks for watching.